Hello. Luna is right here. Doing okay, guys. It's been a rough go here over the last few weeks. I've been battling my borderline personality disorder pretty hard. So I've been having issues with that. That's why we haven't had a lot of videos and things coming out because I've not been going out and doing things. The second reason is I have not been. I'm so sick of my current wheelchair I have. It's a pain in the ass to get in and out. And a lot of times we take Rachel's car, and I don't want to pull it out of my trunk of my car that has signs for when we do awareness stuff for our group um, on top of it. No, I don't have the new one yet, Taylor. The new one, actually, yesterday, the guy from National Seating and Mobility came out because he had to do the insurance wanted measurements of my doorways and stuff. So he had to come out and do that to submit for the insurance. So after he submits that, he said he should be finishing up the paperwork here by the end of the week. Then it'll go to the insurance. They'll deny or approve it, and then once they approve it, everything will be sent to Tylite, the Tylite factory in Washington, or ProMobile. They're also known as ProMobile. And then the chair will be custom made there. It's tailor made to my measurements that they send them. So it will be fitted to my shape and my body. That takes around a month for them to complete, and then they have to ship it back, which can take up to another 4 weeks. So it's November, December probably before I get it. Yes, Chloe, go ahead and ask a question. Sorry. That's why I'm doing this live, for questions and to update you on my life. Hi, Laura. It is a rigid frame. Yes, Taylor, it will be a rigid frame. Um, it'll be kind of curved in the front towards the pedal or foot plate. So it'll be what they call tapered a little bit. Hi, Chelsea. Sorry, I'm trying to hold this without getting everything, my fingers and stuff. Oh, I'm so tired. Best shoes for Duke Claws. I would recommend My Busy Dog. They have shoes, and then they have like a more boot style. So I would get the more boot style. They're a little bit higher. The pride flag, yeah. Yeah, we have the pride flag, the gender queer flag, and the I forget the other one. That's Rachel's. I have seizures, and my service dog in training is for anxiety and seizure. Does the dog have to go to a special training? Seizures, you can train them to respond to it. Usually yourself, just shaping the behavior for how you want them to respond to your seizure. As far as detecting it, that's usually something the dog has to pick up on their own, or yes, they may be able to go to special training. I know people who scent train for seizures, certain hormones and things like that, and your body change when you're going to have an episode like that. Luna is sort of cortisol trained for anxiety. So, if she senses or she can smell my cortisol level changing, then she will respond to that. As far as my seizures, she's just trained to respond to those. She's not trained to let me know that it's going to happen. So she will, if I pass out, she will lick my face to bring me around. And then she's right there, usually on top of me, so protecting me from anything going on. I hope that was helpful. Daisy's shutting down on her shoes every time I put them on there. Oh no. Space out using them. Lots of treats. If you can pick up on a seizure yourself, rub your face and sweat and having the dog alert to it. Yeah, you could try that. That's one way to do it. Lab, wiener dog, and poodle. Wow, that's a big mix. Yeah, so Chloe, I would start with, you know, shaping the behavior that you want out of her. So when you have like a seizure, you're going to need somebody to help train with that, especially if you're not conscious or aware when you're having your seizure. Luna starts with mine because mine are just like, my doctor is actually starting to think that it might be a mild form of narcolepsy because of how I pass out and how they come on. It's just out of like nowhere. And I just start staring off into space and I don't blink. Luna starts responding when I do that. She notices I'm in like a dead stare. Then she'll start pawing at me to let me know, hey, hello, you know, like pay attention. If that doesn't work, then she jumps up on me. Um, and if that doesn't work, she will, if I haven't passed out by then, she will start licking my face. And if that doesn't work, she is trained to bark once. And sometimes that's enough to really startle me out of it. But if I pass out, she just licks my face until I come to. How do you teach your dog to deep pressure therapy? There's different ways to do it, and again, it's more of shaping a behavior. So if you want them to come across your lap, if they know a good down command or lay down, you would want to be sitting on the floor, and then you would want to, you know, lure them with a treat or whatever across your body to where there's their back legs are on one side of one leg and their front legs are on the other side of the other, and then you want to tell them down to lay down and stay and give them the treats. That's kind of how I did it with Luna. There's so many different ways to do it, and you don't have to do it that way, but that's just one example. You're trying to train her to alert before it happens. Um, Chloe, I'm not sure how to go about that because I don't have like epileptic seizures at all. Um, so I'm not sure how to go about training, alerting to that beforehand. You could try scent training where if no, because that's dangerous if you have seizures because you don't want anything in the mouth that you could choke on or swallow. Um, so that wouldn't work with the scent because you have to put like cotton swabs in your mouth to get your saliva for the pheromones and you know, hormones or whatever that's being emitted during a seizure for them to smell and detect that. Yeah, Chelsea, if you have any advice, since you do have epileptic seizures. You have a German Shepherd. What's the best way to keep him from pulling so much? Um, well, there's different tools you can use. I use a prong collar, and that's how I trained Luna not to pull and to heel. So you could use a prong collar if you're not opposed to that. I've also done e-collar training with Luna that she's responded to really well. But she already had a heel down before I started doing that. So pretty much off leash, she will heel 95% of the time, and won't leave my side. So there's different ways to do that. If you don't want to use a prong collar, I would use a method. I'm not sure what it's called, but basically you would, have them on a flat collar and you would start walking and say heel. As soon as they start pulling forward or going too far in front of you, you stop, give them the sit command, have them sit down, and then give them a treat. Start moving again, say heel, stop, get them to sit, give them a treat. Heel, stop, sit, give them a treat. So there's that way. Or there's also, if they start pulling too much one direction, you immediately stop, turn around, and go the other direction and say heel as you're trying to go the next direction. If they start pulling forward again, you turn around and go the opposite direction again, and you say heel. And each time you do that, as you're doing it, and they're healing and they're staying next to you, you want to give them a treat or whatever that thing that they get, a toy, whatever, when they do it correctly. So those are a couple different ways. Well, and that's fine. That's fine, Chloe, the service poodle. You don't have to use. I was very much, when I first started training Luna, I was very much against a prong collar, and I was very much against an e-collar. But I wasn't educated on those. I wasn't educated on how to use them properly. And once I learned how to use them properly and realized that there's no, when they are used correctly, you guys will have to remember that any tool used incorrectly, including a flat collar, can harm your dog. So if you're using a prong correctly, if it's fitted correctly and you're wearing it up high on the neck, I did a video on that actually, on how to fit a prong collar, then it's safe. Right, yeah. She's small. I have a friend who has a Havanese, so she's really small. And she uses a prong on her. Um, it, I mean, it can if it's not fitted correctly or if it's not being used in the correct way. Then, yeah, Chloe, it can hurt a smaller dog. Jax. I do not know anybody that makes custom ADA cards. Um, you can do them yourself. I would include, basic ADA information on one side, like the important stuff that's on usually the front side of the ADA cards that you can get online. Basically the two questions, and, that it's a service dog, list the federal law, things like that. And then the back side, you could talk about your dog, put a picture of your dog, my dog's name, um, maybe it's medical alert and response, and list the different tasks for that they do. That's something you could do. Martingales are fine. I'm not sure you're going to find one for that small of a dog, though. What's your good news, Chelsea? A prong is not going to kill a smaller dog unless you're yanking really, really hard on it, like continuously, or you're basically holding the dog up by the leash with the prong on it. Then yeah, that's going to kill the dog. But if you're using a prong correctly, you're not giving super hard jerks on the dog. You're just doing, like, literally, you could take and pinch the leash with 3 fingers and pull it up. That's a correction. It's a quick little jerk. Quick little jerk. That's a correction. Hey, Jaden. Yeah, right. Like what Taylor said. You literally are not going to kill the dog unless you choke it. Hi, Trinity. Let me set you guys down. And I'll see if I can get an example as far as like prong checking and things. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm going to use my arm as an example because actually, while Luna's sitting here, let me turn this light on over here. There we go. Okay. A bit here. Okay, so you guys can see Luna. Don't worry, baby, we're not going to work. So I'm putting this up high on her neck. So this goes, see, here's her ears. This goes right behind your ear. And then you clip. So then it's up behind their neck up here. Baby, I know. So a correction, I'm not going to do this hardly at all. Actually, I'm going to give it some slack because I have no reason to correct her right now. But you're just going to pop real quick. Pop real quick. So just, and I have 3 fingers here. Pop. Just like that. And it's gonna compress around her neck just a little bit real quick. Almost like a mom dog would to a puppy on its neck to correct it. Just like that. So I have no reason to correct her, so I'm not actually going to do it. But like I said, it's just quick little pop. Quick little pop. You're so sleepy. She's been so sleepy all day today. But yeah, you can see this goes under her chin here. Actually, it's a little crooked. There we go. So this goes under the neck right here. This is called a neck guard. And it's up high. It's as high as it's going to go right under her ears here. So here's her jaw, the back part of her jaw. So it's going under the jaw line. Turn your head this way. Thank you. And again, it comes up right behind the ears. Yeah, it's like, leave me alone, I'm tired. There you go, babe. So, let me hook this on my arm and I'll show you. Because this does not, and recently my wife was like, hey, do it to me on my arm. And I was like, okay. So I put it up around the biggest part of her arm. So, okay. So see how this is? This is not digging into my skin or anything. And this would be if it was tied around the dog's neck. It's just sitting there. So then when you do a correction, it's just a quick little like that. See how that doesn't really dig or anything? It just pinches a little. And this does not hurt at all. This is not hurting me. I could do it really hard. It doesn't hurt. It just pinches a little bit. See, it didn't even, it did nothing to my skin. It's just a little pinch. That's why they're also known as pinch collars. So, see, just, I'm popping lightly. Now, really hard, yeah, that's gonna hurt a little bit. But you don't need to do something really hard like that. This type of collar, in case you guys are wondering if you wanted to get one for your dog, this is it's a Springer. It's hard to read. This is a Herm Springer. This is the quick release, so it has this little clip here. I recommend this because the other type, to get it on and off your dog, you have to remove an entire link here. So you have to pull it on and off. Xena, ESAs aren't trained to go in public or handle public situations, even though your ESA might task. It's not been trained to behave out in public, so you cannot take it out in public. How do you teach a dog to get in and out of the car? Lots of heckin' treats. Lots of heckin' treats. I mean, your dog is small, so it's probably going to be easiest for you to just pick your dog up if you can and put it in the car. Otherwise, I mean, work on seeing if they can jump up into the car. Any other questions about the prong collar? Okay, so that's a little bit about the prong, since people were kind of wondering. This is how I got Luna to heel, was using this, this prong. Whoops, it's not hooked in the right spot. It should be hooked here. Can you explain to my dad that it doesn't hurt them unless you yank on it? And by yanking, I mean really hard. So this is called a micro prong. They actually even come a little bit smaller than this, so the links are pretty small. They have bigger ones that are fatter. Hang on. We'll do a comparison here. So I have two of these from Luna's older collar. Alright, I can't get it on all the way, but see how big these are? Excuse me. These are bigger links. So compared to these that are much smaller. And what's great about these collars, see the difference? See how big these are? So this is why this is called a micro prong. It's smaller. There is, I think one size smaller than this. I can't remember sometimes it's stamped on here, the size, and I don't see the size anywhere. Yeah, the size isn't on here. Yeah, I think this is a 2.25. I think you're correct, Chelsea. And this would be like 3, I think, or 4. But what's great about these is you remove the links until it fits your dog. So this side has 3 links, and this side has 4 links. This side here, and this has 3. So I removed these until it fit Luna properly. So if you have a small dog, you're probably going to want like 3 and 2 to pull it around the neck. So then you've got, actually it would probably be 3 and 4. Anything smaller than that. So this would be pretty small, like this here. So it could be this small on your dog. And again, the correction that you're going to use is going to be so slight that it's not even going to... It'll startle your dog the first time you put it on there. I've seen dogs when they first get prongs put on them, and it does startle them the first time you do that little pop, like that. Just a little jerk. They're like, they might squeal because they're like, oh my goodness, like what is this? But then I'm fighting off a cold, guys, sorry. But then you know, they get used to it. So it's more of a startling. Yeah. Just like Chelsea's saying, it startled her dog. So that's the prong. These are the bigger links, smaller. And I use this on Luna. Lately she's been actually just working on a flat collar or on her e-collar, and she's been doing great. So I haven't had to use it. If we're going to more busy areas or busy places, I will put it on her, but otherwise I don't. What time is it for me? It is 9:23. a choke hurt a dog if it pulls? Yes. A choke collar, I wish I had an example of it. Actually, hang on, I do. I do somewhere. I think I have Rosie's somewhere. Her baby collar. Yeah, I'm glad I found this too. Okay, so these were my pit bull's collars. Okay, so this is a choke collar or a chain collar. This was Rosie's when she was a baby. It's not very big. So how this works, so this is, it's not connected, right? So you would fit this to size around your dog's neck, depending on the circumference of your dog's neck. And then you pull through. I'll show you again because, I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out. But you take the one end and push it through. And then pull it all the way through around the neck. So then you have this free here. The one link is free. And this works similar to a prong collar, but it's not. This is so important to have it fit to your dog's neck. So you do not want like a length of chain like this. You don't want it real long. You want it, let me go up my arm here. You want it more like this. And again, it works the same way, except you don't have the prongs on it, and you do a little pop for corrections. If your dog is a pooler, you do not want this on them because this is not going to be enough of a correction to get them to stop. So works the same way. You would give them a little pop correction. Same, concept. This is called basically either a training collar or a lot of people call it a choke collar. The prong is not a choke collar. The other name for this is a pinch collar. So this is a training or a choke. And again, I don't have a dog small enough right now to use this with, but same concept, you want it to fit up high around the neck, right behind the ears. So if you got the ears, you want it up right around behind the ears. And like I said, you don't want to have very much give on it, about like this would be enough. So you would want to fit it accordingly. But yeah, training or choke collar is what this is called. The prong is a prong or a pinch collar. Now, this is a martingale, okay? This is a chain style martingale. So almost the same as like a training collar. Martingales are training collars, but they're not chained, basically. So you have the actual collar, and then this extra piece that loops through here. Very similar to how the prong goes. Let me put this back together. How did we get on the topic of this, guys? And I'm going to go back and answer questions here in a minute. Okay, so see how this is? You have the hole up here, and then you have the prong down here. Same thing with like a martingale. So you have the collar, oops, this is backwards. You have the collar down here, and then you have this hole up here. This also would fit relatively high up around your dog's neck, right behind the ears. So you want it to be kind of snug. Same concept. This is going to have to go up. Same concept, pop. This hardly any correction at all because it's a collar. So if there's nothing sharp, nothing even really pinching, this is just a pressure. It's just pressure correction. This one is going to be a tighter pressure correction. So it's going to be it's going to go tighter into them. And then, you know, with the prong, you've got it's a sharper correction. So honestly, with dogs, if you're teaching them to heel, I would start out with a prong if you're comfortable with that. Move down to a training collar, and then maybe move down to a martingale style collar. Again, you need to make sure that they are properly fit and fit correctly, and the placement is correct. All of these collars need to be worn high up on the neck, right behind the ears. So that's some collar stuff. Are Malls good as service dogs? We are going to get a trained service dog as I have PTSD and bipolar. No. No. And the reason I say no is because your life will be hell. If you cannot get up and exercise that dog every day for, you know, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, because Malls will just go and go and go and go. So if it's hot where you are, you have to recognize signs of heat stroke with a high energy dog like that, because Malinois will just go and go and go. Luna's mix, so she does come to a point where she will just stop and lay down. She's done. But I still, because she has the Malinois in her, I have to work her out, you know, 15 to 20 minutes a day. So I do not recommend a Malinois as a service dog. Plus, they're very driven. They're a very driven breed. They want to work, but they are driven to the point where Malls are similar to German Shepherds. They can become protective. Yours is a Mal crossed with a German Shepherd. Cool. Luna's supposedly crossed with a German Shepherd, but I don't think so. How do you size martingale? The inner part of the collar is what you would want to fit firmly around her neck, Chelsea. So this part here, that's the actual collar part, is what you would want to fit around her neck pretty good. And then you don't want a huge amount of excess like this. You want to have some give in between there. See how I have some length? So you want it to have some length, and you want it to be snug. You guys are fine if you're just showing up or just talking. I'm gonna get some of the drink, guys. Sorry, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Any other questions, guys? Or anything you guys want to see? My dog just barked. How do I correct that? If you're at home, I wouldn't worry about it. Hi, Kayla. Yeah. Yeah, Lauren. I guess I kind of take back what I said. They can make good service dogs, but a lot of people who are suffering from anxiety or depression, unless you have land or a huge yard to be able to work them out in, it's difficult. It can be difficult with people who have severe depression or severe anxiety to leave their house and go out somewhere where they're going to have to interact with other people while working out their dog. Yeah, Chloe, if you're at home, I wouldn't worry about correcting your dog. Yeah, if you're home, I wouldn't worry about correcting your dog in a home setting. It's when you're out in public that you want to pay attention to that, and you don't want them to be, barking at things. What? Do you want on the couch? What do you want? What? What do you want? What's wrong? Is that okay? Hi, River. Huh? Aw. I'm on the TV. Is it a big TV? Hi guys, how you doing? Sorry guys, my dogs might bark a little bit. My neighbor's calling his dogs and he whistles for them. Again, if you're at home, I wouldn't worry about correcting it. You don't want to, you want to separate your, I would designate an area in your home where you're going to be doing training if you're going to train while you're in your home. Ours is the dining room. We only work in there if we're training in the home. Or we go in the backyard and we work in the backyard. So those are the two places that she associates with training. And outside, anywhere outside the home, like, to pet shop or something like that, she's geared up and she knows she's in work mode and she knows she's either going to learn something new or she's going to have to be doing her tasks. So the reason I say separate general home environment from training environment is because you don't want them to feel like they're constantly doing something wrong if you're correcting them while in the home, because then they're just going to be a nervous wreck all the time. So, one or two areas in your home where you're going to do training, and then, let them be a dog. That's so important. I can't tell you guys how important it is to let your dog be a dog too. Luna knows her job and what she's supposed to do, even at home when she's not vested. She'll still task. So once you get that down, they're still going to task. Luna. Okay, sorry guys. One of my roommates walked in. So, can I turn on the light? Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Yep. So, see, like I said, Luna was barking or whatever. I didn't really correct her except when she jumped on my roommate because I don't want her to jump up. And I tell her no, off, and she gets down. So, yes, Jaden, this is like a Suki tail. Suki. Suki, move. Oh my goodness, you guys. Come here, Suki. Come here. Come here. Come here, Bean. Come here, little Bean. Hi. Hi. Here she is. This is Suki Moon. Suki is, she's making her happy grunts. And she's drooling. She's happy. Suki is my roommate's service dog. She has a YouTube. It's Service Dog Universe, if you guys want to check her out. She did a couple recent videos, so there's some recent stuff on there too. Hi. Yes, you're a good girl, aren't you? Oh my gosh, my live right now is on my TV. Look. I don't know why. I was playing stuff on YouTube, and now look, you guys are on my TV. So at some point after I was watching random stuff on YouTube, it popped up my live. That is so weird. Yeah, my TV is a 52 inch, I think. 52 inch. I'm not 100% sure. How do you deal with frustration with POTS, hearts issues? It makes me angry when I feel like I told everyone up. I just want to sleep like a normal person. I just get upset. Well, Taylor, I don't have POTS. I have some undiagnosed cardiac issue. We don't know what it is, but we're leaning towards some form of dysautonomia. There's so many different types of dysautonomia. So POTS is one form of dysautonomia, but I do not have POTS. So my heart rate, as you guys have seen in some of my videos, goes up, and I'm sedentary and I'm not doing anything. The highest it's ever been is like 152, and I was sitting in my car and I was doing nothing, and I got really, really dizzy. Sitting down, I almost passed out. So, and it just, I'm not anxious, I'm not doing anything, it just happens out of nowhere. So, you know, it's not usually that much, but normal sedentary is, you know, high 80s into, you know, mid 90, around 97 if you're sedentary. So 89 to like 97. I'd say average. And mine, my resting rate sitting up is usually anywhere from 100 to 102. So my heart rate is always high. No, you're fine, Kens. No worries. You have to be a weirdo for a second. You need to kiss my Luna. Luna, Jaden wants to give you a kiss. What are you going to do about it? Would you like a kiss? Would you like a kiss? Yes, thank you. There you go. That's from Jaden. You don't know who Jaden is? No, you've not met him. Yeah, he's a good person. No, he's not at the door. He's not at the... No, he's not at... He's not at the door. He's in New York. What's a New York? New York is a state. Hi, Rosie. Come here. Pibble love. Pibble. Pibble. Hi. Yes, that is Rosie, and she is mine and my partner's pit bull. She is nothing but muscle, and I can't tell you how many people at the dog park say that we're starving her because you can see her ribs a little bit. She's fit. She's not starving, she's fit. Well, that's good. There are people at my house I don't know. it's a Biothane collar, and it has a reflective strip in the middle. Jake, and it's actually too big for her, so we had to take a hair tie and fold it, and then put the hair tie around it. Sorry, guys. Luna, no, that's enough. That is enough. River Lewis. River, hush. Okay, I'm gonna put on some music in the background. That way, my dogs aren't flipping out. There. If you can't hear me or it's too loud, let me know. And hopefully YouTube won't knock me for it. Taylor, that is very untrue. Sorry. Most pits do not come from homes where owners feed them leftovers. That's not true. It's a common misconception that the pits are treated poorly, they come from bad homes with bad people, that they're aggressive and they're mean. Rosie is the biggest baby ever. She loves everybody and everything, and she doesn't have a mean bone in her body. My chihuahuas are more aggressive than she is. My one female chihuahua has latched onto her lip and hung from her lip, and she's just sitting there hanging from her lip, and Rosie looks up at me like, help? She didn't react. She did nothing. Very common misconception that pit bulls are beastie. That's sad, and I hate to hear that. Yeah, it can depend on the area, but a lot of pit bulls do not. My neighbor has 2 pit bulls on the right side of me. Not directly next door on the left, but the next house down, he has 2 pit bulls. The guy across the street has a pit bull. The guy up the street 2 houses has 2 pit bulls. So, and they're all very well taken care of. They're very healthy. Yeah, a lot of people overfeed their dogs. We make sure all our dogs are fed the correct amount. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. It's weird, I've never actually seen this music video. Billie Eilish. How do you work with a service dog? I have really bad anxiety and PTSD, and it makes it really hard for me to find a job. Sorry if this question is off topic from what you're talking about right now. Isa? Do you mean like go to a job with your service dog? Or do you mean like training, like how do you train a service dog? Sorry guys, I'm trying to get this loose so I can use these as a stand for my phone. And I've locked these two in and now I can't get them apart. Who the hell? I didn't mean like working with a service dog. Sorry for the confusion. Oh, it's okay. So you mean like training, like how do you train a service dog? Well, a lot goes into training a service dog. Before you start training a dog, you want to check the temperament of the dog first. So you'd want to get something called a temperament test done with the dog. Whether that's a current pet or a dog you are looking for. So you would want to start there before you start any kind of training. If they pass their temperament test, then you would start with basics, sit, down, stay, things like that. And once you have that down really well, you would move on to like some task work from there. Sorry guys, my hair is a wreck. And I need a haircut. It's the Doggo Rubik's Cubes, yeah. I finally got them apart, but they're not going to function the way I wanted them to. You're welcome. I hope that's helpful. Yeah, I finally got them apart, and now they're not going to do what I want them to do. So, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. I'm so bored. Turn that back up again a little bit. Do you guys want to see any of her gear or anything like that? Anything specific? I'm just trying to think of stuff to talk about. All your guys' questions have been great. If you have questions about my chair, if you have questions about gear used, how to use something. Not a lot has changed, Chelsea. Not a lot has changed since the last one I did. I have gotten rid of some stuff, and I've gotten one new cape and one new harness, and that's it. I only have 2 vests, you guys, 2. Everything else is a cape and a harness. No questions. There's only 4 of you watching now, so you want to learn how to work with biothane, like make biothane stuff, or work with it on your dog. Because there's like 2 different kinds of biothane. Like there's a thinner, more flexible version, and then there's a thicker version that's not as flexible. Rosie has 2 biothane collars because she just gets it so dirty. Like this was her collar. See how dirty it is? That's supposed to be like a bright pink, and this is supposed to be white. So yeah, this was her second collar, and then this was her first baby collar, and the ribbon through it is supposed to be pink, like a bright pink color. So yeah, she's hard on her collars. She gets dirty. Sorry, I keep dropping you guys. She gets dirty. Stay. I need a tripod. I need to just break and get a tripod. I have not seen any out there, Jaden, so you would be probably one of the first if you could figure out how to do it. How do you feel about people wanting straight pride? You don't have to answer. I don't have any other questions. So the straight pride thing, I think is ridiculous. What I say to people who want straight pride is look up LGBTQ history. Okay? Stonewall in 1969 was a riot. It was a riot. Police were going into this bar called the Stonewall Inn and arresting people for being gay and for dressing up in drag. And they were getting beaten and tortured. Pride started out as a riot, and then it moved into a protest. Protest to earn rights, to be treated like a human being, like anybody else, to not have to hide who you are. Why do you feel you need to celebrate being straight? You have freedom to marry who you want. You know, you're a man and a woman. Women, you can marry the man you want. Men, you can marry the woman you want. We had to fight to earn that right. I had to fight to earn that right to marry my wife, the woman that I love. My cousin who is gay had to fight for his right to marry his husband who he loves. Straight pride is nothing. And that's how I feel about it. Nothing compared to what we as LGBTQ people have went through. And it's not just, lesbians and gays. The transgender people who are fighting so hard right now for their rights that are being taken away from them left and right. We are fighting again as LGBTQ people right now because Trump is trying to pass something saying that certain states are trying to pass that they can fire someone for being gay. or for being a lesbian, or for being transgender. Thank God that military ban was overturned. So I hope that answers your question. That is my feeling on that. I made a post on Facebook years ago. You know, did you have to, you know, I said something about, I was replying to someone's comment that said, you know, why can't we have a straight pride? And I said, oh my God, it's straight pride today. You know what? We should have it again tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that, because every day is basically straight pride day. You don't need your own month. That's my thought. Sorry, it's something that's kind of sensitive to me, guys, so I will go on a rant about it. I mean, if you're straight and you support the LGBTQ community, thank you. Much love to you. So, you know, I'm not trying to down people who are straight or things like that. Just people who believe that there should be a straight pride. Why? Give me a good reason why you need to have a straight pride. What have you had to fight for? What rights have you had to earn? What protests have you done because you're straight and I'm straight, so you should treat me a certain way, or you know, something like that. What have you had to fight for, as far as getting your straight pride, you know, or just being who you are, being who you want to be? Give me that answer, and then a good one, and then okay, have your straight pride. There is a city in the southern part of Ohio that actually had a straight pride, and it made me sick. So anyway, if anybody has any other questions, and I will say, if you are young, and you are in the LGBTQ community, I'm talking, um, like 25 or younger. Do your history. Know your history of Pride. Do your research, historical research on how Pride got started. My city, I know how my Pride got started and when the first Pride occurred, how many people were there. I know what goes all the way back to Stonewall. I know the different people who had to do things like Harvey Milk, and God, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The guy that designed the first Pride flag. Pink triangles are for gay men. If you guys didn't know that, it's not a lesbian thing. I've ran into some younger lesbians that think the pink triangle is for them. No, it's not. Pink triangle is for gay men. That was their secret symbol to identify, I guess, each other. And somehow the Nazis, actually, I believe that got started by the Nazis, with Jews in concentration camps. If they thought you were gay, they marked you with a pink triangle. And everybody's disappeared because I've gotten on this topic. And it's getting late. It's like 10 o'clock. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and end this live. It got way off topic, way off track. But I hope you guys learned some stuff as far as the collars go. I hope that was helpful to you. You know, some of the training tips that I gave. I just hope, you know, this was helpful in some way to people. So thank you for hanging out, everybody. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and the weekend is slowly coming. So we will see you soon. And Jaden and Chelsea, you two are the only ones here. So have a good night. Love you guys. Miss you. Bye.